Half Dome, the geologists believe, if you look really close at Half Dome, we're going to get a closer view when we get down there. There's a piece on the very top that sticks out called a visor, like a hat, right? And then the north face is really flat like this. The geologists believe that right under the visor was the depth of the glacial ice, moving this direction. So from that way, this way toward the west. And so the geologists believe that that north face, there was a fracture or joint when the Sierra Nevada batholith was cracking and cooling like we talked about. And there was a fracture system that developed there. And then when it was uplifted, the glacier came through and sheared off that face as we see it today. And there's been a lot of exfoliation since then. Exfoliation means rock kind of breaking off or spalling off. So there's a lot of rocks at the base too that is post-glaciation afterwards. And exfoliation, now all the 8th grade girls know what that word is. It's a geologist. The cosmetic industry stole it. Exfoliation. And so that kind of visor sticking out. So imagine the ice 4,000 feet thick coming this direction out of this valley. Amazing. And pieces of Half Dome quartz monzonite, it's a type of rock, that in the east end of the valley, there's lots and lots of domes because Half Dome quartz monzonite just lends itself to creating domes really well. So Half Dome quartz monzonite, because of the components of the granite and the crystals, the shape of them, the length of them, how it cooled is how the crystals form. They can take pieces of rock and tell you within about 5 miles exactly where that granite came from. People who are granite specialists, that's all they do. Well, there's pieces of Half Dome quartz monzonite all the way out in the San Francisco Bay. Crunched up by the granite, by the glacier, and then moved out of Yosemite Valley down into the terminal moraine, and then moved by the Merced River out north on the San Joaquin River, out the Sacramento Delta, out into the Bay Area. So there's pieces of Half Dome all the way in the Bay Area. So crunched up by that glacier and then moved out. So Half Dome. Then look up to your right. See that small dome that's against the blue sky? That is Sentinel Dome. And down on the ridge, that big straight face that's in the shadow is Sentinel Rock. So that's Sentinel Dome, Sentinel Rock. And then this group of 3 right in front of us is Cathedral Rocks, upper, middle, and lower. And that waterfall coming over the edge, Bridalveil Fall, classic. And they call that, in case we get down there and there's no bus spot, I want to tell you about the Hanging Valley now, in case we can't find a spot down there. So the geologists in the past think that Bridalveil Creek used to probably come down a series of cascades, like a stair step, and had a fracture or a joint system right there that when the glacier came, it carved it off there, and then post-glaciation, a lot of weathering and exfoliation of rocks spalling off, that's a good word, coming off, like peeling off, and now, instead of going down a series of cascades, the waterfall now leaps clear like that, free air, and comes down from that hanging valley up there. So the hanging valley is where the waterfall comes off the edge. That's called a hanging valley, not down on the valley floor. And I can almost guarantee if you look at a geology textbook under Hanging Valley, 99% chance you will see a photograph of this waterfall. It's just really famous. It's a classic hanging valley in space, and the water just leaps pretty clear like that. It's really beautiful. So Bridalveil Fall is a little bit more than 600 feet tall. Then let's keep going this way. All these points of rocks have names like Crocker Point, Stanford Point. These names sound familiar? Famous early Californians, right? Named for them. And then here's a waterfall that most visitors miss. It's called Silver Strand. Now, because Yosemite Valley is an east and west shaded valley, this side over here gets a lot more sun. The plants that love the sun are on this side. And in wintertime, the sun comes up over this edge over here and beats down on this side and never hits that side. So in December, January, this side over here is just covered with snow and ice and everything. And it looks totally different. This side could be like clear like this with no snow. The sun's beat down, melted it. So it's microclimates because the valley is so deep and these big walls. You have 2 totally different ecosystems on 2 sides of the valley. Silver Strand over here freezes solid. And people come from all over to ice climb it.